We are living in an era of constant upheaval, where everything changes so rapidly that it's hard to keep up. The boundary between reality and ancient prophecies is gradually fading. Global leaders are gradually witnessing the emergence of a new world order. But is this merely a conspiracy theory, or is there perhaps some grand scheme being secretly carried out? The prophet Daniel foresaw this age and meticulously described 4 fierce beasts, symbolizing the empires that would dominate the world. But what is even more terrifying is that these kingdoms do not merely belong to the past. They exist right here, in the very world we live in today. When political, economic, and technological forces increasingly intertwine, we can't help but wonder, what will be the consequences when a new global empire takes shape? Will we even notice this change in time? It's time to honestly confront the grim forecasts from the past, for the future waits for no one. Let us analyze Daniel's prophecy together to explore the connection between the 4 strange beasts and the New World Order. Verse 4 in chapter 7 of the book of Daniel describes the first beast that appears in the vision. This beast resembles a lion and has the wings of an eagle. I stood watching without blinking until the wings were torn away. The monster slowly lifted itself from the ground, stood upright like a man, and was then granted the heart of a human. This creature is a symbol of the ancient Babylonian Empire, a mighty, proud, and rapidly expanding force that dominated other nations like a ruthless predator. The eagle's wings symbolize the speed and relentless expansion of the empire. Yet, what unfolds within sight? The wings are torn away, the monster is lifted and transformed, now bearing a human heart within. This is extremely important, because it demonstrates King Nebuchadnezzar's humiliation when God stripped him of his throne and forced him to live like a beast until he acknowledged the supremacy of the Most High. Though the ancient Babylonian Empire physically collapsed, its spiritual influence has endured through the centuries. The concept of Babylon has become a symbol of the global power structure, corruption, and the spirit of defiance against sacred faith. In the book of Revelation, Babylon is depicted as a symbol of a global system of deception and domination, one that will seize control of the world during the end times. This shows that the first monster Daniel saw not only symbolized a fallen empire, but also the spirit of domination that persists throughout history and will rise once more at the final hour. Is there any country or global community today that shares similar characteristics with ancient Babylon? Look back at the once arrogant world-dominating powers that quickly declined. Take the United States as an example. This nation has always been tied to the symbol of the bald eagle. This country has expanded its global influence at an unprecedented rate, profoundly impacting cultural, political, and military spheres. However, much like Babylon during the Nebo-Chinese era, we too are witnessing signs of decline. The values that sustain this strength are gradually eroding, while its global dominance is increasingly being called into question. We are not only witnessing the decline of nations, but also clearly seeing the shift toward a greater new order. A unified global system, an empire not dependent on any single nation, but rather an interwoven network of power. Ancient Babylon once held power and knowledge. Today, information is the key to mastering the world. Governments and large corporations are collecting vast amounts of personal data, controlling information, and steering public behavior. This is the spirit of Babylon: control, seduction, and rejection of the truth that comes from God. We are witnessing the powerful rise of the new world from its own inherent strength. The prophet Isaiah also foretold about Babylon and the fate of this kingdom. I will stir up against them those who despise them, those who care neither for silver nor for gold. Just as ancient Babylon once fell, the mighty powers of today are also nearing their end. But before that happens, we will witness profound transformations. Empires will be reshaped, currencies will devalue, and global powers will establish a new system to consolidate their authority. This process has begun, and the astute will notice the first signs. The transformation from the image of a winged lion standing upright on 2 legs, holding a human heart, reminds us of an important truth. What force in this world can be overthrown and transformed by the power of God? Nebuchadnezzar had to be humbled before he realized that there is a Most High who rules over the kingdom of men. This is a wake-up call for nations and leaders today. No matter how fiercely they strive to consolidate their power, there remains a limit ordained by God. A new world order may be taking shape, but it will not hold the final decision. The new world order will not merely be a rearrangement of governments, but a shift in the global power structure. The great powers are gradually weakening, and in this power vacuum, a new system is emerging, one no longer confined by geographical borders. An invisible yet utterly perfect empire. Babylon ceaselessly seeks to elevate humanity to replace the position of God, and that is the very essence of the New World Order. A system that denies God's truth and imposes its own interpretation of reality. How does this affect us? This means we are living in a transitional period, as one empire declines while another rises. Seemingly isolated events, from economic crises and political instability to technological revolutions, are all part of a much grander, overarching plan. Visionary individuals will recognize the signs of the times. We are living in an era of great upheaval, where the line between reality and prediction seems to grow increasingly blurred before our eyes. The world is rapidly changing as global leaders begin to discuss a new world order. But what does this actually mean? Is this merely a conspiracy theory, or is it truly a sign of something greater? Something prophesied thousands of years ago? The prophet Daniel foresaw this era and meticulously described the kingdoms that would shape the course of history. Now, let's explore how those visions connect with the realities of our lives. We must mentally prepare ourselves to face the challenging phases ahead. When this new system becomes widespread, economic wars, energy crises, and military conflicts may arise. Is all of this a sign of the prophetic bear's awakening? The New World Order will not emerge from common consensus, but will be established through the deliberate collapse of outdated systems. The bear symbolizes relentless brute strength and power, paving the way for the next phase of global governance. When the Babylonian Empire fell, the Jews were freed from exile. This shows that even in the most brutal empires, God still guides history to fulfill His will. Likewise, as the New World Order gradually takes shape, those who serve God must remain steadfast in their enlightened spiritual awareness, understanding that the prophecy is being fulfilled. The bear is just one step in the transformation. The worst is yet to come, but God has revealed the final outcome. The New World Order will not be a single empire like Rome or Babylon, but rather a system of interconnected entities, including major power conglomerates. Chapter 7, verse 6 in the book of Daniel describes the third beast that appeared in the vision. Then I saw another beast resembling a leopard, with 4 wings of a bird on its back. It had 4 heads and was given authority. This image was entirely different. If the bear symbolized crude, sluggish dominance, then the leopard represented speed and strategy. This creature does not attack with brute force, but relies on precision and absolute speed. History records this symbol as representing the empire of Alexander the Great, the conquering emperor who subdued nearly the entire known world in an unprecedented short time. However, its meaning must be reconsidered within the context of today's New World Order. Alexander's empire was not like Babylon or Persia. He did not merely conquer territories but also spread his culture and values to the subjugated peoples. This process is called Hellenization, a strategy of changing perceptions. Alexander did not merely conquer territory, he also sought to spread ideas and transform language. Introduce a new religion and establish a unified world under one's own rule. Do you see this as fully aligning with the proposed New World Order model? We must not only control the government and the economy but also transform the consciousness of the entire society. The prophecy describes a leopard with 4 wings, symbolizing extraordinary speed, reflecting how Alexander the Great swiftly seized power and transformed the entire world. Today, globalization is progressing at an unprecedented pace, driven by remarkable advancements in technology and artificial intelligence. Decisions that used to take a year to make can now be made in just a few weeks or even a few days. The world is changing at a dizzying pace, yet few realize they are gradually adapting to accept a new system. The 4 heads of the leopard symbolize the division of Alexander the Great's empire among his 4 generals after his death: Cassander, Lysimachus, Ptolemy, and Seleucus. This teaches us an important lesson. Power may seem concentrated at first, but it will eventually disperse and spread on its own. Today, we witness the rise of decentralized forces, governments, and global organizations, all coordinating actions without the need for a single, specific leader. The influence of Alexander the Great is also clearly reflected in the cultural and ideological changes across the world. He introduced Greek culture to all the nations he conquered, eliminating local cultural traits to replace them with a uniform global standard. Do you see this happening in reality? Traditional culture is gradually fading away, while values such as family, faith, morality, and even biological norms are being redefined on a global scale. The leopard not only dominates its territory but also transforms the very fabric of society, reshaping human thought. The greatest revolutions in human history have all been ignited by groundbreaking ideas. S empire was not merely a military conquest, but also a cultural turning point. The New World Order was shaped by this model before falling into the hands of an absolute power. It transformed humanity. Jewish and Christian values, which have been the foundation sustaining Western civilization for centuries, are now gradually being replaced by a new global value system, one that places humanity at the center instead of the creator. This is the essence of the radical liberal spirit, a revolution transforming society from its roots. The tools for controlling human thought and behavior today have reached an unprecedented level of sophistication in history. If Alexander the Great needed armies to impose culture, today, the battle is waged through media, entertainment, education, and technology. The world is being reshaped to accept a global government. This domination is unfolding with extreme subtlety and strategy. Instead of using force to impose laws, people are being guided to willingly embrace change. The new system is being presented as an inevitable reality that cannot be resisted. The New World Order will not need to be imposed, for the people themselves will willingly embrace it. The key lies in social engineering. Why is this important? Because it is preparation for the final kingdom, the kingdom described in Daniel chapter 7. The leopard is clearing the path, breaking down cultural and religious barriers, so that when the New World Order is fully established, there will be no significant opposition left. A global government requires a global people united in common will. The era of chaos is the time to dismantle all differences, erase distinct identities, and reshape human thought. We are living in an era of upheaval, a time of dizzying change, where humanity is forced to adapt to what lies ahead. Yet, the awakened will not be easily deceived, for they know that after the chaos will come the apocalypse, followed by God's final judgment. Johnny Ebechung chapter 7 depicts the fourth monster with an utterly terrifying appearance. Then in a night vision, I saw the fourth beast appear, utterly terrifying and dreadful. Extremely ferocious, it possesses massive iron jaws capable of crushing and devouring everything, then trampling over whatever remains. This creature is unlike any species we have ever known. That is not a lion, bear, or leopard, but a bloodthirsty beast, wreaking endless havoc. A terrifying creature never before seen in human history. Most importantly, this monster symbolizes humanity's final empire. Looking back through history, we see that each subsequent empire is more brutal than the last. Babylon ruled through luxury and power, Persia conquered with mighty armies and vast territories, while Greece subdued the world with its brilliant culture and rapid expansion. But this empire is different. It does not merely dominate, it devours and annihilates everything. The prophecy foretold a global empire unlike any seen in history. The Roman Empire is a prime example of this, but in reality, its scale and terrifying extent were far greater. The most striking feature of this beast is its razor-sharp iron teeth. They symbolize brutal dominance, cutting-edge technology, and unrivaled power. What do we witness today? A world increasingly dominated by technology. Now, governments don't even need to rely on military force to maintain their power. They only need to control information, manipulate currency, and dominate digital systems. The New World Order won't require tanks or bombs to rule. This system will become immensely powerful, to the point where no one can escape its control. Janeel also stated that this monster had 10 horns, symbolizing kings. These rulers or power structures would seize control of the final empire. The 10 horns. Then another appeared, entirely different from those before, and he would subdue the queen. In other words, this system will have multiple leaders, but only one among them will rise to prominence and hold supreme control. Many believe this marks the emergence of the Antichrist, the one who will rise from this global empire. And here is the key point. The essence of the New World will not be merely a political or economic system, but a vibrant one like the phoenix. Revelation chapter 13 depicts the final beast as a governing power that demands absolute worship. This will be a global empire, one that dominates not only the bodies of men but also holds sway over their souls. Technology, economy, law, and culture are synchronized to impose a new belief system, a dogma that denies the divine to glorify humanity. But how could this happen? The secret lies in total social control. Today, we have begun to notice the early signs of this. Digital identification is a global system where each individual will be identified and monitored. Centralized digital currency will replace cash, and every transaction can be monitored. Religious freedom is restricted when the government bans any belief system that risks disrupting social order. These tasks are being carried out sequentially, step by step. The fourth monster did not appear immediately. It grew steadily until it completely dominated everything. Jenny L. Trong shared 23 chilling statements that left us shuddering from their haunting warnings. So he declared that the fourth beast would be the fourth kingdom on earth, entirely unlike all kingdoms before it. It would devour the whole earth, trampling and crushing everything beneath it. Unlike any empire that has ever existed, this one is not bound by any borders. This is not the property of any single nation, but belongs to a global government that holds supreme authority. Never in history has any empire exerted such comprehensive control over nations. The New World Order will not be established by a single nation or an alliance of countries, but will be governed by a unified global system. And once the system is firmly established, no one can operate outside its rules. He compels everyone, young and old, rich or poor, free or slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead. No one is permitted to buy or sell unless they bear the mark, the name of the beast, or the number corresponding to its name. This demonstrates the empire's supreme dominance will be absolute in the final hour. The question is, are we truly seeing signs that this is happening? The answer is definitely yes. Everything Janiel had ever seen is now unfolding before our eyes, becoming reality. Cash is gradually disappearing, while surveillance systems are becoming increasingly comprehensive. Freedom is gradually being eroded under the guise of security and progress, while religion is being reshaped to serve a homogenized system. The fourth monster continued to grow in silence while the world lay lost in slumber, yet this remained an undeniable truth. God has ordained the fall of this empire. In chapter 7, verses 26 to 27 of the book of Janiel, it is written, "But the court of judgment will be established, and its power will be stripped away to be utterly destroyed, eradicated down to the last trace. The kingdom, along with the power and greatness of the kingdoms under all of heaven, will be given to the holy people of the Most High. Your kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey you." Janiel's prophecy reminds us that even empires rise and fall, but the kingdom of God shall endure forever. When this final empire comes to an end, God will establish his kingdom and reign forever. Earthly kingdoms will fade away, but the kingdom of God endures forever. Chapter 7, verse 18 in the book of Janiel clearly states, "The saints of the Most High will receive the kingdom and possess it forever and ever." This shows that history will not end under the rule of the fourth beast. God has ordained the duration of every empire, and when the final phase of this global regime comes to an end, the kingdom of God will be established and endure forever. Nothing can destroy it.